Hello, this is Dante Renee from the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page, and tonight's movie is Jess Franco's Die Sklavinnen, otherwise known as it's known as slaves. If you're going to interpret Sklavinnen. Anyway, here's the cover. I'm blocking out some nudity here. This is also part of the Jess Franco Golden Goya collection. This is a region-free Blu-ray. Once again, you can get on diabolicdvd.com, German import Blu-ray. Beautiful transfers on these things, always uncut versions, and just unbelievable Blu-rays of these films that are hard to find in any other format. To be completely honest with you, most likely you'll find them in Region 2 formats. This film right here was done in 1977, as well as a host of other Jess Franco films that were done in that same exact year with similar casts. Um, this Jess Franco Golden Goya collection are his Erwin C. Dietrich films, where Erwin C. Dietrich was producing these films. And in this particular case, Erwin C. Dietrich wrote this film and Jess Franco directed it. In this film, we have Lena Romay. We also have Martine Stedel, or Stedel. I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. She was a blonde woman who was in a good number of Jess Franco films. And just beautifully alluring girl with blue eyes, blonde hair, and she does a really fantastic job in this film. And Eric Falk is also in this film from Blue Rita and a host of other Jess Franco films, although he occupies a very small role in this film. A very mysteriously small role in this film, but he does an excellent job every time he's in a scene. And also, Lena Romay here really kind of being a lead. Man, is she wearing some fantastic outfits in this film. She really seems to be the one who has just the killer outfits in this film. And I would say like draperies. She was just like the princess of draperies in this film. And she is sporting short hair in this film, but she's seemingly has that young face from like, Female Vampire or Countess Perverse, except just without the long hair. She has that youthful look with this shorter haircut, and a really cool short haircut at that. Now, Jess Franco is also in this film. That's right, folks. Jess Franco is also in this film, and he is playing a bastard in this film, but somebody who's trying to carry out justice, and he is, man, is he playing a rough character in this film. And it's not a common role for him, where he's playing kind of a very serious and rough character in a film, without humor really in his role. Now, one thing I will tell you about the dialogue in this film, is just batshit crazy. The dialogue in this film is very coarse, sexually coarse, and also slightly hilarious with the phrases and the words that they're using, especially towards women. And it is just it's kind of hilarious. There's even a talking bird in this film that is saying hilarious things in one section of the film. So the dialogue is very coarse, very strong, and also very outlandish and wild. And also pornographic, coarse, strong language. The soundtrack of this film was awesome as usual. I mean, we have in this film, of course, we have some jazz. We also have some disco type music, and we also have some Spanish like flamenco type of music in this film. So a lot of diversity. We also have some suspense thriller type music, and we also have some hand percussion, solo just hand percussion music in this film as well. I will say that the atmosphere of this film, definitely in the tropics. I love the way the film starts off. It's just bam, tropical area, jungle, tropical type of area. Everything is by the water. Everything is by the water. Everything is by the water. It's not a beach, really per se, but it's just you're constantly seeing water, and there's a place in the film called I believe the Pagoda, that is just the architecture of these two places are just magnificent. The pagoda, the kind of the nightclub area, just looks like a mosque or something. I mean, really, really cool areas, and then a lot of interiors in gaudy kind of 70s foreign Spanish type of vistas or rooms. Some of the rooms might be sets, especially this one room with this black woman laying down with Eric Falk and the talking parakeet bird. Um, and just, really kind of really cool places. Lena Remey's kind of apartment. Um, and uh, and others are seemingly pretty normal looking. We also have some city shots. We even have some nighttime city shots that remind me of the film Maniac, um, and with Joe Spinell, and we have some seemingly kind of guerrilla shots of just people walking the streets or walking or on the busy beach. I believe this might be Spain. I'm not really sure, and beautiful area, city, and kind of the like I said, the water and the jungle all there. So really, really fascinating spots, and a really fascinating spot at the end of the film. With this mysterious statue that kind of closes the film. This weird kind of mermaid looking decaying statue in this jungle garden that is led by a pathway up to it, and it's just very mysterious and very interesting. So there's a lot of diversity, film wise in this. Really cool bathroom, shower. Some of it almost looks modern, which is interesting too. So there's a lot of diversity here. Um, the filming style from Jess here is all over the place. It's all of it. It's sometimes subtle, and then he has zooms, that kind of his gynecological zooms. Vaginas, butts, taints, um, and he is doing something in this film very consistently, however, which is constantly dealing with the focus. He is changing scenes, using focus, going out of focus, back into focus, changing scenes, changing angles. Really, really cool things that he is doing with the focus. There is also a rhythm to this film. There is a rhythm to his filming. There is a rhythm to the editing. There is a rhythm to the cuts. There's a rhythm. You can most notably see it in the first like 15, 20 minutes of this film. There is a rhythm. This is not a slow type of Jess Franco shots film that you would normally see. There is a rhythm. The shots are quicker. They kind of have a beat to them, a pace. You could like when the characters are walking, it's kind of like they're walking to the shots. Even the sex scenes, even the dialogue. There's a lot of close-up shots of people's faces. And I also want to mention the nightclub at the Pagoda. Kind of has a band there. It's dark, furry white carpet, and nude dancers, and predominantly black women in this film as well. I mean, not predominantly, but more than maybe some other Jess Franco films, which I also thought was interesting. And they were great. There was a woman who was kind of the main squeeze of the really heavy set character in this film, who I believe might be the producer, Erwin Dietrich, but I'm not sure. She had a very alluring look to her face as well, and I believe I've seen her. I mean, she might have been in Women in Cell Block 9, like one of the prisoners, just for like a second. But she has a very, very cool look. Let me see if I can just get her face up here without getting any nudity. That girl right there, that one next to Lena. Um, she has a very kind of alluring presence and look about her, and I haven't seen her enough in his films, but I might be seeing her more and more in the future films that I'm reviewing here for Franco. I'm going to say that there is some action in this film. There are tons of twists and turns. The film kind of takes kind of a flashback presence or a flashback story, and what it tries to do is it tries to fill in the gaps. It tries to solve the mystery of what has happened, the absence of a character. It's you're solving a mystery in flashback mode. You're trying to figure out what has happened. You and there are so many twists and turns, predominantly again in the last like 15 minutes, where you just start getting dumbfounded. But this film actually starts off with some serious twists in the first 5 or 10 minutes. So it's really crazy stuff. I also want to say on the edits, um, that there were some really cool shots, I think, on a door handle or something. And there was even a sex scene where the mooning trailed off into a jungle shot where you where there was like a spurt of water, almost like Naked Gun like, that was, I guess, like an orgasm, like orgasmic in a way. Very, very interesting. Very interesting how that, just, kind of comedic or something. You're not quite sure. And this doesn't have like kind of the blood and the torture of other Jess Franco films, or the sadism per se, but there is a mean-spirited tone in the story. The story is pretty mean-spirited. The story involves drugs. It involves white slavery. It involves gosh, it involves kidnapping. It involves greed and the sex trade and power, and really a ton of power. A very powerful woman who basically makes women kind of bow down to her, and men as well. But men get the last laugh in some ways in this film, because there's a totally hilarious ending in a way, that kind of sums up the gender issues of this film per se. So yes, some really, really kind of mean-spirited type of storyline in a lot of respects. And sexually speaking, this is a more explicit Jess Franco film. As I said, gynecologically, you're going more into you're getting really close up in the sex scenes, and the sex scenes are the second it's not the sex scenes, it's not that the sex scenes are more explicit, it's that the zooming is more explicit, I guess, is what I'm saying. But the sex scenes are actually really creatively shot, really well done, erotic, and interesting. There's one shot in one of the sex scenes where it goes from um, I'm blanking right here, but it kind of switches a nipple to another body part, into the Martine's mouth, and the way that it's done is just like fluid movement. Again, the rhythm of the editing here, really well done. The sex scenes are most no, they're actually, there's lesbian and straight sex scenes, and there's a redheaded woman in here who is in some other Jess Franco films, but I don't know her name. She's also in here. Kind of has a weathered look to her, weathered skin, not really kind of the classic beauty that you would be used to, but kind of reminds me of a little bit of maybe the succubus woman, but older. So Jess Franco was not just using younger, he never just used younger actresses. He used them from all ages, and even Lena Romay up to, man, up to her older age as well. This is Die Sklavinnen, otherwise known as Slaves. It is a lean 77-minute film with tons of twists and turns. It has action, it has mystery and suspense. It has a wild opening credit sequence, totally wild, out of nowhere. About a couple minutes goes into the film, and then all of a sudden the title sequence happens, and then the movie just ends, focused on this, something. But so there's a rhythm, there's a beat to this film, and it's sexual, it's lurid, it's coarse, it's strong, and yet the storyline is really interesting. It's like kind of an exploitation, mystery, suspense, action, drama storyline mixed with sex and sadism and talking parrots, and and just the Jess Franco weirdness of language and characters and free love and that white slavery. You know, this is a really complex film. There are some lines in this film that I wish I could have written down that are really complex as well. Thank you, Jess Franco. Thank you for watching. This has been the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page. More Jess Franco films to come. You can check out my own films at youtube.com/poopydiarrhea. These are very, very hard to talk about because they are filled with so much, and that is the mark, my friends, of an awesome film. I love this film, and there's just too much to say. I hope you got a grip on it. It just lets you know how boundary pushing Jess Franco was. Anyway, folks, thank you and good night, slaves.